Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. Today, we're going to talk about this interesting story that I read today about a lawyer who decided to quit her job and leave the legal profession so she could start an OnlyFans account. So, we're going to talk about the link between money and sex and just some financial dynamics on this situation that might give us some food for thought. So, get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am your friendly neighborhood finance professor. On the Black Financial Channel, we talk about Black wealth and Black economics every single day, sometimes as much as 10 times a day, under the B1 agreement. B1 means we're Black first. B1 means we educate our kids. B1 means we want to learn about wealth. B1 means we're going to build for the next generation. If you agree with that philosophy, put a hashtag B and the number one in the chat. Also, shout out the city that you're from. Hello, Yashika and Latricia from Iowa. Good to see you. What's going on Instagram? Everybody on Instagram. And feel free, if you hit the link in the bio on Instagram or go to boycewatkins.com, you can join us Thursday. I'm going to do a stock options training camp. So it's 2 days, 2 Thursdays in a row. So those of you who want to learn about stock options, feel free to join us. For 48 hours, you can actually get 48% off. So just go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to join us for the stock options training camp. I will get you started. I will show you how to add options to your portfolio, how they work, and just really make you comfortable with the whole concept. So, and all the material is yours for life. And it's only $199, but actually with the 48% discount, it becomes $103. So if that's worth it to you, feel free to go take a look. You can go to boycewatkins.com. All right, so here we go. I was reading this story this morning that really got my attention. Normally, I'd start a Monday morning talking about the stock market, and the stock market is doing well today. By the way, money is going up, so that good for you. If you are an investor, if you are diversified, you should see green in your portfolio. If you're not seeing green, that means your portfolio ain't lean. If you ain't seeing green, that means you know there's something ain't quite right. So today's a good day. 250-point gain this morning. I'm going to go look at my portfolio pretty soon. And for those of you that are studying stock options and stock market stuff with me, I will send out a list of what Dr. Boyce is buying a little bit later on today. So I read this story about this lady who was an attorney. And she was from the Middle East, and she was making $75,000 a year as a lawyer, and she's found this thing called OnlyFans. Now, how many of you know about OnlyFans and the OnlyFans culture? I mean, it's okay. You can just put a yes if you've heard of it. Whether you're a subscriber or not. I'm not here judging. I don't care. But how many know about OnlyFans? Well, OnlyFans is basically this platform where you know people, I guess, get naked and do stuff that relates to procreation. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The stuff that Marvin Gaye used to sing about, and apparently people are making a lot of money doing this stuff. I saw a story about Black China. Black China used to hang out with Kim Kardashian, and she said, "Now, I don't believe that's a big number." She said she made $250 million in 1 year on OnlyFans. I don't believe that. I think that's a ridiculous amount of money. And then she says, "But I gave it up." So that really made me not believe it, because I don't know. I mean, for $250 million, you might see Dr. Boyce up on OnlyFans. Okay, I don't think people would pay $250 million for me to sit back and do math equations, while I'm butt naked or whatever. I don't even want to create that visual. That probably just sounds weird. Me sitting there naked at a table doing math equations and talking about finances, and eating some barbecue ribs or something while I do it. What y'all think? Would y'all pay for that? Anyway, so OnlyFans, apparently there are a lot of people making money on this thing. And this lady said that she was making 75K as a lawyer, and she ended up creating this OnlyFans, and she would do the OnlyFans after work. And the whole weekend she'd be doing, creating, racy content, not just nudes, but other stuff. And she said that they would ask her, like, she said this in the article. She said people would say, "Well, how was your weekend?" And she said, "I'd have to lie and say, oh, I was just relaxing and blah blah blah." She said, "When really I was sitting around like playing with dildos." And I mean, it was like really crazy, right? And so I thought about it, right? It was interesting because she said she made more money in the first month than she made from her in whole year working as a lawyer. And she said this really made her say, you know what? I'm done with this. And as I read the article, I figured out what was going on. It wasn't that she was just telling her story; she was marketing her OnlyFans. Like literally, she was actually, kind of letting people know, like, "Hey, I'm here. Like, you want to subscribe?" And so she now does other content. Like she has a YouTube channel where she gives legal advice to OnlyFans creators on how to set up their contracts. And I thought it was really interesting. So I was like kind of researching like how much money people are making on this stuff. And according to one source that I found, they said that the range might be like between like a little over 100,000 a year to as much as 5-10 million a year. They didn't talk about people like Black China making a quarter of a billion. I mean, $250 million is an insane amount of money. But I know there was that one lady. You remember that girl that was on Dr. Phil that said, "Catch me outside." How about that? You remember that? "Catch me outside." How about that? Now somebody says they can't hear me. Can you hear me? Give me a yes if you can hear me. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me. I want to make sure I'm coming through all right. But yeah, but anyway, the "Catch Me Outside" lady, apparently she made like $50 million or something on OnlyFans. So, I guess there's a lot of money that's being made. And I was reading a New York Post article where they literally said in this article that now they were talking about British OnlyFans models, but same thing applies. They said that they literally were making 270 times more money than the average worker. And they compared what they were making to like doctors and lawyers, and they were saying that they were making like 30, 40 times what doctors and lawyers make. So it's kind of interesting because this financial dynamic, it's almost like it's shifting society, shifting culture. I don't know how this plays out. Where I come from, the generation I come from, you look at the internet and you're like, wait a minute, but video lasts forever. The internet lasts forever. Your grandkids are going to have access to all this, just 20 years, 15, 20 years down the line. Once you're done and you try to put this behind you, the world won't let you put it behind you, right? It's still going to be there. It's going to be out there forever. That's the mindset of people from my generation. But maybe the money at this magnitude is making people see things differently. um, I don't know. I'd like to ask you all a question. If your daughter came to you and, let's say your daughter was really smart and she had the option of like, going to Harvard and becoming like a doctor or a lawyer and, working 10-hour shifts so she can make, three, 400,000 a year. And let's say your daughter came to you and said, Dad, I decided I want to just, get on OnlyFans and get naked and make $500,000 a month. How would you feel? How would you be supportive? Would you say, get the hell out my house? Like, what would you do? I mean, that would be, Owen says that would hurt as a parent. Yeah, that would be hard. Like, I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get it. It's interesting. It's one of those things where I'm going to end up thinking about it for 2 years, and then one day I'm going to wake up and do a podcast and say, okay, I figured it out. I have a conclusion because because it's really hard to tell somebody, especially a struggling, single mom or whatever, who's barely paying the bills, who's already sleeping with some loser anyway, sleeping with a bunch of bums who ain't helping her pay no bills. It's hard to tell her like that, there's something wrong with you for doing this alternative profession in order to make money and be economically independent. I think that as a man and as a father, I would hope that my daughters wouldn't feel that this was their only option. I think that's probably the part that's thought provoking for me. It's one thing if you do it because that's just your thing. You ain't got no shame. You don't care. You want to make some extra bread. You don't want to go to work, and it's easy. That part, I guess, it's okay. That's cool. That's you. That's YOLO. But if it's like I have to do this out of desperation, and I might like, and I have to get drunk and use drugs in order to numb myself up enough to go through with it, you know? So, and as I'm sinking in this hole of like, you know, deep depression that might make me suicidal, that's a different kind of thing, in my opinion, right? So I almost wonder how society is going to shift in terms of how the world even views the idea of sex work, because sex workers make money because people pay money for what they offer, right? But there's a stigma connected to it, right? And the interesting thing is, I don't know if the stigma is always necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, again, but maybe I'm speaking in terms of my generation, but I do make a difference between the women who show ass for a living and the women who make you work for it. I think that there's a difference. I really do. I just who, you know, I don't think I would have wanted to marry my wife if my wife was like, oh, by the way, I have an OnlyFans and there's 50,000 men who get to see me doing the most for them that I would be doing for you, right? In that case, I don't know if I'd feel like, okay, you know what, who you are, because here's the thing: who I choose as my wife, to me, that's very sacred. And sacredness, part of sacredness is exclusivity, and exclusivity, from an economic standpoint, adds value to that commodity. That which is exclusive is more valuable than that which is just readily available for anybody. They can pay, you know, a 9.99 a month membership fee, right? So so ultimately, I think that there is still a part of, now somebody said, would you have not married her if she had an OnlyFans 20 years ago? Um, no, I'll admit no, because it would still be up. It would still be out there, you know. I think that there's some. It's just like, you know, if I said, you know what, I was in prison for 10 years and I slept with a few dudes while I was locked up, and I murdered three people, you know, in 1998. I don't think that would make me like, I can't sort of say I'd be the exact same person, or I'd be seen the exact same way than I am as somebody who didn't do those things, right? So our choices do have consequences, and I guess if the consequences are acceptable, then it makes sense. But if the consequences are painful or costly, then maybe it doesn't, and it really sort of shifts the cost of dignity. Like that in my mind, that's what I would kind of think about, right? Like, you know, back in the day, it was like it wasn't, let's say this, before the internet, you didn't have a world where a woman could literally make millions of dollars getting naked, right? You know, so it was an easier choice back then than it is now. And so a lot of women, I can see them kind of going and saying, you know what, I would normally not do this, but the money is really, really good. And I can see that really shifting society in terms of how we sort of see everything. But I think some things are going to remain universally consistent, meaning that I know most guys I know are not going to view an OnlyFans model the way they might view a woman who wasn't an OnlyFans model. And I think that's the trade-off I guess people would have to make. But you know, but there's always been a connection between sex and money. Always. There's always been you know, for example, men who have more money are more attractive than men who don't have money. And what also happens in relationships is that when a woman has plenty of money, it changes how she chooses a man. You know, a woman who has money can marry for love, where you know, because she's already got enough money, she doesn't need the man for money. So even the presence of money or lack thereof shifts how you choose your partner. If you have something that is lacking, that's why you got to raise your kids to be economically smart and learn how to make her own money, so that when she does decide, okay, I want to pick a man, she's not just going to pick the guy who can help her pay the bills. Because there's some pretty horrible men that, you know, can pay a lot of bills, but will also ruin your life. Because remember, you know, everything is like in investing, we talk about portfolios, and portfolios are just a group of assets that you own that all have value. So your portfolio isn't just stocks and bonds and real estate. Your portfolio is your physical health, your mental health, your relationships, your youth, your energy, your love, all these other things you have. So sometimes if you over focus on one thing, you can lose on another area, right? So if I focus on adding to my financial portfolio, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna marry you because you can add more money to my bank account, but then I forget about everything else. And what can happen is you can take away so many things from me that money can't buy. Like you take away my peace of mind, you take away my happiness, I lose my youth. Maybe you maybe it threatens my physical health because of all the stress or the diseases I get from you or whatever, right? And I think I see a lot of people make that mistake. So don't make that mistake. You know, when you choose relationships, try to factor all that in and not just look at one thing. You know, but anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's my thought on it. I don't know. I'm not here to tell nobody whether it should be an OnlyFans model or not. It's not. I mean, I don't. Who knows? I mean, maybe if I could have just got naked a couple times and made $1 million while I was in college, maybe I wouldn't have even gone through the hell of getting a PhD because that shit was hard. So anyway, let me be quiet, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm gonna get back to work. I will check back in with you a little bit later with the stock market. We did a lot of conversation this weekend about the brother Jonathan. You know what I'm talking about, Jonathan. Why is his name not coming to my mind? You know what I'm talking about, the Majors, Jonathan Majors, who was arrested this weekend, and kind of what that looks like. I mean, that's a $3 billion movie that Marvel is going to have him as the headline in. The next Avengers movie is literally called The Age or the Dynasty, the Kang Dynasty, and that's going to make $3 billion. So his arrest literally could end up costing Marvel, you know, $3 to $10 billion, depending on how you look at it. So I'm curious to see how that plays out and what kind of magic tricks they're going to pull out to repair his image. Because I don't think they're going to give up on him. His girlfriend's recanting her statement. I think that's going to work out in his favor. I think they're going to clean it all up. But the question becomes whether or not he's able to keep his nose clean because, ooh, buddy, you don't talk about a financial risk. There's so much money invested in that guy right now. It's ridiculous. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. All right, guys. So hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe. The stock options training camp, if you want to learn about stock options investing, it starts on Thursday. You can join by going to boycewatkins.com. It's online, so you don't have to travel anywhere. For the next 2 days only, you can get a 48% discount. We're going to cover all the strategies of stock options. I'll show you how to buy your first options, how to read the grid, how to read the charts, how to understand the dynamics, what I do with options. So if you'd like to join us in the Black Business School, feel free to go to boycewatkins.com. The link's right there at the top. Or if you're on Instagram, you can hit the link in the bio. Also, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is on Amazon. It's available right now. It is a #1 bestseller in the public finance category. Because Black people are so awesome and cool. And I hope you'll go take a look at that too. So take care, guys. Have a good day. And I will check back in with you a little bit later. Be good. Peace.